Hi, hello everybody. I thought I should record the video and share with you the detail about this project, which I'm calling it Ecuador project, but the name of the project is Fulbright Specialist Project, and it is going to take place in Ecuador. So let's get started and tell you about the basics of this project. So I'll be talking to you about the country Ecuador, the location, the politics, the education and leadership, and all of that. So the title of the project is Competency-Based Education in Context. Ecuador is a country, is in the north of South America, northwest of South America. And as you can see the collage here that shows you the diversity of Ecuador's architecture, landscape, seascape, and the rural uh, Andes that you can see. It's a beautiful country, and I'm very very excited to go to Ecuador. Competency-based education. It's not so. Ecuador is transitioning from a skill-based, where skills are compartmentalized in different grades and different modalities, but they want to have a holistic competency-based education, which not only looks at skills or scores, but also about attitude, um, skills, knowledge, a holistic development. So, in this presentation, mainly I'll be talking about geography, political leadership of the country, education, and then, of course, I'll be giving you information about the project so that you can contribute and assist me in this one as well. The color scheme in the background is the flag color, uh, yellow, blue, and red of Ecuador. So where is Ecuador? As I just alluded, it's in South America, a continent, and in the northwest of South America. In the north of Ecuador is uh, is Colombia, Bogota, and in the south is Peru. And it's a small country in terms of size and population. And among the features, there are four main regions, but most important ones are like Galapagos is a tourist resort where people go small islands. Andes is the chain of the mountains, the coast, and the Amazon forest. So the country has got a huge diversity of landscape, and I've heard that it's a beautiful country in South America. So some basic facts before we talk about Ecuador, we need to know the history and identity, economy, geography, and challenges. Because it is located in South America and in the north part of the South America, we know that this is a Spanish region, be it Colombia or Peru. It's in a Spanish area, Latin America. So, but history, if you want to look at the history and identity, so basically, there are different layers of Ecuadorian identity. And one of the layers is their colonial past, that the French came here and they ruled. But before the French, the whole region was the Andean Andes civilization. So this civilization was not restricted to Ecuador, Colombia, or Peru or Chile. It was a major, the mountains Andes civilization. And before the French um, conquering the place in 15th, 16th century, this was a previously was a part of Indian civilization. So the French ruled here 15th and 16th century. I'm sorry, the Spanish ruled here 15th and 16th century, and the place. the country got the independence in the 19th century. Economy, traditionally it was an agrarian economy, but very recently, as recently as 1960s, there has been a huge growth of oil and gas industry. So discovery of oil has made a ripple effect on the economy of the country. And currently, um, as well, Ecuadorian main source of earning is oil and gas, and the chief buyers are United States of America and China and other countries. But primarily, it was an agrarian economy, which gives us some information. Agrarian economy, especially there are a lot of people who lives in the rural areas. Geography, I just hinted at the Andes Peak. If you are a mountaineer, you would definitely know that some of the highest mountains in South America, they are in Andes Peak. Itself, Quito, the capital of Ecuador, is pretty high. The elevation from the sea level is very high. Not as high as Bogota, but definitely very high. So about the geography, it's an Andean region, active volcanoes, very, very active volcanoes. A lot of things are happening, and hilly, it's a chain of mountains, and then you have plains where you can do the agriculture, the seas, and as I pointed out, Galapagos, very famous islands are here. Some of the challenges, of course, violence is one that you will get to hear about it, and gangs in uh, in that area which operate over a number of countries. So these gangs is a big challenge for political leaderships. These are some of the very basics about Ecuador. Um, the political leadership, he's probably the youngest political leader of the world, uh, Daniel Daniel Noboa. He was elected in 2023, age 35. As I said, the youngest prime minister or political leader of any country. He is the he is the son of a businessman, and he is a very business-oriented, market-driven political leader of Ecuador. And one of the policy proposals that he is saying is giving hard time to these gangs and offers a lot of prison services to other countries as well. So he's known for his clear-cut policy on gangs and criminal activities, not only in Ecuador but globally. So that's the leader who is very dynamic and very much business and commercial oriented. I'll move on. Sorry, there is a lag in my PowerPoint. I'll see how it goes. Okay. Ecuador education snapshot. So, one thing before I talk about education, um, I want to tell you about so that you can understand where the education is. You see, the sexual violence in a school in 1 year, around 5,000 being reported between the period of 2025 to 27, which is roughly 2 years. So that's a major case, and poverty and discrimination. So you have poverty, rural poverty is 50% of children lack water, sanitation, and healthcare. They lack water, sanitation, and healthcare. So the drop rate is very high among indigenous people. Pregnant teens is a common phenomena. So because of these social factors, we see the impact on education. So the enrollment is very not very encouraging. Secondary is hardly 51.2% to 70%. So the challenges of Ecuadorian education is poor performance in mathematics, languages, and overcrowded schools, and the locals who live in villages, there the education challenges are even more. So key recommendation of education expert from United Nations is that they should strengthen sex education. It is assumed that lack of sex education lead to such higher rate of teen pregnancies, not only in Ecuador, in many parts of the world as well. Wherever we see the sex education and health education is lacking, there are impact on the health of the students as well as on their dropout rate. So the dropout rate is very high, and 38,000 children with disabilities are enrolled, and the barriers are segregation in special schools, lack of ramps, resources. So the schools are not ready for to meet the needs of these special children. So overall, I would say high dropout rate is the result of there are social problems like poverty, discrimination, sexual abuses. So the dropout rate is very high and the enrollment is low. Uh, Competency-based education, the project is all about competency-based education. Three things that I'll be focusing on will be training teachers, collaborating with the team, with the um, Ministry of Education, and will make connections with the scholars and people who are already working on competency-based education. I will be giving my knowledge, share my experiences of working in different other countries with colleagues working in Ecuador. So I'm excited about competency-based education frameworks, sharing with them all about that. I want to talk to you why Ecuador. One thing is that I have Ecuadorian students and in the United States. And when I meet my Ecuadorian students, they really impress me, they inspire me, and they show me how talented they are. And at the same time, they also create an interest in me to see the cultural and linguistic diversity of Ecuador and see how educational reform that are being made, how I can contribute my part. So there is a great demand for competency-based approaches. Ecuador is currently going through a major shift from a skill-based to competency-based approaches. They're bringing it this change, and this will have not impact on Ecuador but the entire region. So regional impact, and I'm an educationist with a linguistic background, so I find such changes very, very exciting. And this is taking place in Ecuador, in a region where I always wanted to go and work, but now I'm getting the opportunity. So why not Ecuador? Well, I just hinted at curricular fragmentation, and that's the usual approach, a very traditional approach. Early childhood education is separated from basic childhood and secondary childhood and higher education, and different skills are targeted and taught in these classes, but there is no framework which actually um, join all three of them. There are no traits which can combine uh, early childhood or basic education or secondary or baccalaureate. So I'm looking forward to uh, talking to colleagues about uh, moving away from fragmented approach to curriculum, to a very holistic, where a child is prepared not for only for the curriculum and test, but for the life and for the changing life. So one thing for sure, we know that the life is changing so fast. Every educationist agree that the life that they had and the life that they are offering to learners in school are totally different. These children, adults, um, are growing up in a screen-based environment, not in play-based environment. So their world is very different. Their world is fast. They play a lot of games, electronic games. They're super intelligent, fast, accurate. They need sharp results. And with the advent of artificial intelligence, they are even more intelligent than all the previous generations, and they're very talented. So they need to be excited, stimulated, uh, challenged, um, you know, given given hard tasks, which is not easy for them to do, so that they can learn more and become more stronger. So I'm excited to talk about a holistic framework which can really, really make our students stronger, more creative, and better prepared for life outside the school. So the comprehensive reforms that are being taking place are in pedagogy, in instruction, in methodology, and in assessment. All three areas are very important. Uh, Pedagogy basically covers methodology and assessment both, but I have written it separately because I'm planning to train um, some leadership so that that can have an impact on a ripple effect or cascading method on other institutions. So comprehensive reforms. So in these three areas, and I will also be working on institutional strengthening, where technical capacity with the Ministry of Education. And the current gap is National Directorate of Curriculum lacks qualified professionals. I would not say that really lack qualified professional. Probably they have a different approach. So experience in competency-based uh, curriculum, I would be sharing the evaluation and implementation. Okay, so this is all about so far about the project detail. But why a Fulbright specialist? Well, as a Fulbright, I will not go to Ecuador for a very long time. I will go for a limited time, maximum 45 days. So, in a 45 days, I have to be very specific to have an impact. So, I will strengthen the technical team, which is working on um, redesigning a curriculum, making it a competency based. So I'll be sharing my advice with the technical team in the ministry, and I will also, as I hinted to you, I will also be training, offering training to leadership in curriculum and instruction, uh, in competency-based instruction. And then hopefully this will lead to the contribution to provide guidance. I will be providing guidance, offer methodological support, and I will ensure that the knowledge that I am sharing with you is transferred and they're ready to carry forward. So it's going to be a short project for 45 days. In country, I will be in the 45 days, but the preparation has already begun, as you can see that. So overall, where will this project contribute? What will happen? So it will contribute to their national strategy. They're developing their national strategy. They're moving from skill based to competency based. So their strategy, I will be my project, my input, my presence there will help them sharpen their strategy of transitioning from one approach to another approach. So objective is I'll provide technical advice. I will strengthen their capacities of instruction, of assessment, and I will develop guidelines for further implementations. So this is where the project will have an impact. It'll be contributing to the national strategy. So three objectives, as I've already talked about. First is to provide technical advice. The second is to build capacities. And The third is to build guidelines so that after I am back, colleagues in Ecuador ministry can go on with the guidelines and use the tools that we will develop together. So that is all about this presentation about Ecuador project. Uh, I look forward to having any questions and remarks. You might send it to me, and I'll respond to you. If you want to know anything else, please do throw uh, an email or write there in the box any comment that you might have, and I'll respond to it. Thank you once again, and all the very best.